Good morning, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another of our discussions around Open 5G. My name is Ian Gillett from IGR, and today we're joined by Sandro Tavares, who is Global Head of Mobile Networks Marketing for Nokia. Sandro, welcome. The first question, a lot of people know Nokia, of course, for over the last decades for mobile devices, mobile networks. So how do you guys view the open network opportunity for mobile?
Yeah, well, we are very excited about it, right? For us, there is no question whatsoever that Open RAN and Open 5G will happen, right? And that will actually shake a little bit the foundations of our industry and create new opportunities, right? We do believe that the market and the ecosystem in general gains a lot by working with open interfaces and having new possibilities with the exposure of APIs with the RAN intelligent controller. So we are pretty excited about it and really working heavily towards implementing the open standard interfaces, implementing the RIC, and to really get the traction that is needed behind these new setup, right? Behind this new basically way of working.
Okay. So obviously, you've got a large installed base of mobile operators around the world. When they ask you about open networks, what do you say as the advantages for them to moving to open?
Well, there are several angles, right? As always in this industry, there is always a strong angle towards cost savings and improvements on TCO. I believe that in medium to long term, that will happen. But of course, in the same way when we were doing the cloud transformation on the core side, there is a kind of a lump in the beginning that needs to be overcome in terms of cost to basically set up the infrastructure and transform the architecture into this new model until you actually see the benefits in the longer term. But of course, that doesn't stop there. Right. So we are talking about, first of all, having an ecosystem of companies developing solutions that is going to be very expanded, not only on providing let's say, the basic building blocks of the radio access network, so providing baseband or radio units, but especially when you look into the possibilities of the XApps, that will be connected to the RAN intelligent controller. There, I mean, you can have basically any software developer creating applications that are going to either work on optimizing the network or creating a new service based on this direct connection to the radio access network. So the benefit for the operators at this point is really on working with a wider ecosystem of players and having an innovation pace that naturally is going to be faster, right? Because you have more companies working in creating new solutions and optimizing different building blocks of the radio access network. So it is really about, fostering innovation, transforming the ecosystem, and then the cost savings gains, I believe they are going to come. Right, but as we move a little bit longer in this process, right at the very beginning, there are investments that have to be done that basically point us to a direction where we're going to see better, let's say, cost savings results as we go a little bit further down the road, not immediately.
Right. So I know your customers, you create about 200, a couple of hundred new features every year just within the RAN, right? Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is with an open platform, those become software based. So it becomes a software platform, software development that could be done by Nokia, managed by you, it could be done by somebody else. So you see we'll have specialists develop who focus on one particular aspect of the network?
Yeah, of course, we'll continue to develop our features and we're going to continue to invest quite a lot in R&D. But yes, you can expect that some of these new players that are going to appear, leveraging the space that is opened by the exposure of these APIs, they may be extremely focused. They may be specialists in optimizing specific aspects of the network, and the RIC allows us to do that, right? So you're going to have a mix of, the traditional vendors also creating applications. Features are still going to be developed, but then with this new ecosystem that is created, powered by the RAN intelligent controller, I think it is fair to expect that you're also going to find some specialists that are going to be implementing specific functionalities to then integrate to these open networks.
Right. So I think you said that we're at the beginning of this process here. We've got a ways to go. So what do you see as the challenges for moving towards an open network right now?
Well, first of all, it is a change in paradigm, right? So it is a big paradigm shift. So there are challenges in terms of course, evolving the architecture, especially if you're talking about existing service providers. You see that the biggest examples that we have of Open RAN or pre-Open RAN implementations today are greenfield cases, right? But when you look into brownfield, it brings a new set of challenges, right? Another one is really guaranteeing feature parity across the board, right? So even if you look at the current level of the current maturity of the open interfaces that we see right now, be it like the open front haul, mid haul, we are basically able to provide support to the more basic functions of the radio access network. There still work to be done to support more advanced capabilities, like, for example, carrier aggregation, even massive MIMO, DSS. So this is all going to come. I'm not saying it's impossible. It will come as we continue to evolve the open interfaces, but it is a challenge right now. And besides the interfaces, it's all about making sure that these functionalities, they are implemented in the same way across the different vendors, so you can actually get them to work in a multi-vendor environment. That said, I mean, what is being achieved right now is already pretty big, right? Considering that we are able to get 4G and 5G networks on the air, even like you can consider that some of them are running pre-standard interfaces, but evolving towards open interfaces. This is a necessary and very important immediate step before we continue to develop these interfaces and get these more advanced functionalities deployed. Right.
So it's interesting though, like you pointed out, three functions there: DSS, carrier aggregation, and MIMO. Those are really functions, as you said, that really come about from having multiple bands and a mature network. If you're a greenfield operator with a single band, putting in a single technology, then you're not certainly going to have carrier aggregation because you've got nothing to aggregate. And you're probably not doing DSS because you may not be mixing 4G and 5G together. So is it that the greenfield operator has a much simpler environment and that makes it easier? Is that a fair?
It is a fair statement, yeah, which does not mean that Open RAN is not applicable to established operators as well. So we do have cases that, for example, you can implement Open RAN in more rural areas or on, small cell domains. So in areas where you don't really need all of these functionalities to build your coverage, right? So that is a possibility. And one way that we're trying to make this even easier is that for our existing customers, we are not, so the Nokia Open RAN solution is not like a parallel product line or anything like that. What we're going to do is that the open interfaces, they're going to be made available on top of AirScale, which is our RAN product. So be it like the classic AirScale or the Cloud RAN solution. So in both cases, these functionalities, these interfaces are going to come as additional functionalities that then will give our customers the flexibility to start experimenting with them in parts of the network if they want to do that.
Right. So it's not either or, it's this is the path you're going down, and when you're
Yeah,
ready to
exactly.
go that way, you move in that direction.
Exactly. Yeah, we believe that for brownfield cases is going to be a stepped approach, obviously, right? And we are looking into making sure that we make this transition as smooth as possible, right? And that our customers, they can experiment, they can deploy open solutions in the areas that they believe make sense initially, and then evolve as they see fit.
Right. So you and I have both been around long enough to remember 2G to 3G, 3G to 4G.
Yeah.
This is not dissimilar to that type of evolution. I mean, not all operators went from 3G to 4G to LTE, for example, at the same time. They went at different paces. They went in different areas. Some people put in LTE nationwide. Some people put it in on a regional basis. So you're really saying the same thing here. Different operators are going to move to open architectures at different time when they're ready as appropriate.
Exactly. So you're going to see, you even see like different statements coming from different operators in the same market based on how do they deal with these technology changes and their strategy of network evolution, network growth. So it is fair to assume that in the same way that is happening with 5G, that each operator, they are going to define their steps towards implementing openness. And our job is to make sure that we can support them in whatever way they prefer to continue.
Right. So where are we in the development of the ecosystem to support open 5G? I know that obviously you guys are a pretty big part of the current ecosystem. There's a lot of pieces that have to come together for an open network. So where do you think we are in the process for that right now?
I think we're obviously at the beginning, right? There is no doubt about that, but there is quite a lot of progress. So we believe that an efficient and effective Open RAN ecosystem will be based on the open interfaces that are defined by the O-RAN Alliance. We believe it's fundamental that we really keep our eye on the ball and on the long run here, and looking to developing these interfaces properly and not try to cut corners and do custom integrations here and there, because that would basically maintain the situation that we have right now. There is very good progress happening in the alliance, right? Probably the interfaces that are more advanced, or the standards, we can use that word, that are more advanced today are around the open front haul and the interface towards the RIC, and then the proper definition of the RIC. And this is where I see a lot of action happening right now. There's still some edges to be fixed, like, for example, on the open front haul, we have a set of mandatory parameters and a set of optional parameters that are defined. And that creates the situation where there is a lot of like profiles that are being created based on the selection of the optional parameters that one wants to have or not. I think that's natural, right? But as we evolve and as these tests start to happen, then I would expect that we are going to start to converge to a handful of profiles based on what kind of functionalities, what kind of need each customer has, and we are going to go from there. So we're at the beginning, but it is an ecosystem that is pretty dynamic. There is a lot of interest, not only from our customers, but also from governments on making sure that this happens. So yeah, I think the future looks pretty bright.
Yeah. Any area in particular, the ecosystem, you think needs particular attention right now?
I wouldn't say that there is one particular area that is, let's say, delayed with relation to the others. I think that, of course, you have these two areas that are more advanced because they have been the object of, let's say, the most immediate attention, because the ability of, for example, combining a baseband system from one vendor with an RU from another vendor is something that is appealing. right? So I just see that it is natural that it would be more evolved. But all the other areas, for example, if you look into the interfaces towards management and orchestration systems, they're also progressing well. I personally don't see a lot of traction right now on the interface between the CU and DU, but I think it's a matter of time. You're not seeing quite a lot of split between CU and DU on the market out there right now, even on the traditional system. So it is just a matter of, the technology evolving and operators looking more into this kind of architecture, and then the interface will follow. So I think that at the end of the day, the work is progressing pretty well.
Right. So 2021 is nearly here.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will be happy to say that. When we look at open networks, where do you think we'll be in 12 months' time, towards the end of 2021? What stage will we be at in the ecosystem or in deployments? Or
yeah, I wouldn't say that by the end of 2021 that Open RAN will be prevalent, right? But definitely we are going to see much more implementations than what we see right now, right? And especially a lot more implementations that are running based on the open interfaces. So the industry is getting ready. In our case, we're also getting ready, and there will be a lot of pilots that we're going to be running in the beginning of 2021. And then by the end of 2021, we already will have fully commercial solutions, and my expectation is that you're going to start to see Open RAN in commercial deployments, like real Open RAN in commercial deployments. I would expect that for it to become consolidated, fully consolidated as an option in a lot of cases and a lot of real implementations, I would say we're looking towards 2022, 2023. Right, but definitely a lot will happen in 2021.
Right. So, do you think that when it becomes, I'll say, the norm, where the majority of new deployments or upgrades are open, is that tied to the deployment of 5G? Because when we look at 5G subscribers, I think the majority of subscribers become 5G in about 2025. Are we looking at that kind of time frame for Open RAN as well, do you think?
Yeah, I think that Open RAN will play a pretty significant role, let's say, on the second and third wave of 5G deployments, right? As you're building capacity, as you're expanding the coverage of 5G beyond, the areas where we see the bigger concentration of traffic, like big metropolitan areas like we see today. So it is definitely going to be a component that will really catalyze the expansion of 5G.
Right. Sandro, thanks very much. Great discussion. For those watching, we've been talking with Sandro Tavares, who is Global Head of Mobile Networks Marketing for Nokia. Sandro, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ian.